Hello, students at Bethel. Welcome to another exciting Bethel University Writing Center podcast. I'm Sam, and today I'll be discussing our topic with Tiffany. This Writing Center podcast is called Which That Is That. Today we'll be helping you learn when to not use that, when to use which, and how to decide between using that or which in your writing. These are common writing issues, so if you're struggling with them, don't worry. We're here today to help you. So buckle up and come explore this lesson with us.
There is a general rule of thumb for determining if any usage of the word that is really necessary in a sentence. First, you want to identify a sentence containing the word that. Then, ask yourself the following question. Does this sentence still make sense if I omit that? If your answer is, yes, my sentence does still work, then you are able to take out the word that. Let's look at an example. Holly decided that she would beat her parents to the punch and clean her room. Did you hear the that? Does the sentence still make sense without it? Let's see. Holly decided she would beat her parents to the punch and clean her room. It does still work. We can remove the that from this sentence without causing the sentence to become ungrammatical or shift in meaning. Now, Sam will describe a few instances where that isn't necessary in one's writing.
We often use the word that in our writing when it isn't necessary. There are 3 specific occasions when you should definitely not use that in your writing. We can remember these with the phrase, people don't burn bridges twice. The first occasion relates to the people part of the phrase. You should not place that after a word that refers to a person or group of people. Instead, use the word who. Who refers to people, groups, animals, or things in a sentence. Let's take a look at this sentence. Bobby is the guy that brought cupcakes to lecture. Pause for a second. Could we use a better word instead of that? You bet we can. Let's use who instead. Bobby is the guy who brought cupcakes to lecture. Now on to the bridge part of the phrase. If it is true that people don't burn bridges twice, then the word that should not be used after bridge verbs. Bridge verbs are verbs like say, think, or believe. These verbs don't carry an extra meaning beyond saying something. For example, a non-bridge verb is whisper. When you say whisper, you're not just saying something. You're saying how it was said. So let's look at how this applies to using that. If we put the bridge verb think in a sentence, we could say, I think that it's going to snow in April this year. But is it necessary to use that? No. You can make your sentence more concise by saying, I think it's going to snow in April this year, and the meaning of the sentence will not change. Let's finish our sentence. People don't burn bridges twice. Therefore, don't use that twice in a row. While this is technically grammatically correct, it doesn't look stylistically appealing. Having 2 that's in a row looks redundant. You might say that's crazy, but take a look at this sentence. I argued that paper had not been written by Sally after I read it. If you saw this in a paper, you would pause. But if we take out that, it can sound like this. I argued that Sally had not written her paper after I read it.
The word that can be used to convey essential information in a sentence. This is called a restrictive clause. Here is an example sentence of this concept. The first kindergarten class that all 31 students attended was miraculously free of mishaps. The that in this sentence makes the information of 31 students essential to understanding the intended meaning of the sentence. This concept of essential information can be juxtaposed with determining when to use the word which instead of that in a sentence. whereas that is used to convey essential information in a sentence, which is used to convey non-essential information. This is called a non-restrictive clause. Let's return to our example of the kindergarten class. If I were to replace the word that with which, it would read as follows. The first kindergarten class, which all 31 students attended, was miraculously free of mishaps. In this case, the information about 31 students sounds as though it were included in the sentence to add extra information, instead of being integral to one's understanding of the sentence. This concludes our lesson for today. Now, you should be able to explain when to omit the word that and when to use which instead of that in a sentence. From both Sam and I, thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope this listening experience has been helpful to you on your writing adventure. And remember, Bethel's Writing Center is here for you to help you at all stages of your writing process.